So in this tutorial I'm going to try to explain or show you the steps and tools you need to build the unofficial Squirrel plugin um, if you do not want to wait for someone to build it for you. So this is a virtual machine that I'm using to do this because I'm currently on Linux, so I couldn't be doing that. This is a fresh installation of Windows 7 because I had to install this on a hard drive, so fuck Windows 10 because it would be annoyingly slow to do that on a hard drive. So before we begin, I'm going to need you to do something that you will have to do every time you install Windows probably, which is to install some things that every program needs. Let me... what the fuck? Okay. Whatever. Which is to install the Visual C++ redistributable packages all in one because we do not want to install them to search and download them one by one. And this is probably going to be the first link that you will find. So you go here, you download, choose something, a server that's close to you and which works for you. I'm going to save it. Shit, he did it by default. Okay, cut. Let me put this on desktop. Let me minimize this. So this is what you're going to get. Let me make a new folder here. I'm going to extract this here. You see, this would probably be annoying to get one by one. So what you will do is run this install all batch file, which will proceed to begin installing them one by one in the order that they were released, yearly probably, 2005, 2008, 2010, and so on. And when this is done, we can begin with the rest of the things. But this is something you're going to need not only for this, but for other programs as well. So I'm going to pause this here and come back when it's done. So now that this has finished installing, we can probably get rid of it. So let me delete this. Okay, now there are two ways we can probably do this. Build a plugin via a terminal or a console, which is, I don't know if it's something that you want, because you may want to browse the source and the errors, if some of them happened during compilation, and having a code IDE or editor or some shit might be beneficial, make things easier. So I'm going to use the I don't know, the smarter way of building this, which is to use the visual, what's it called, from Microsoft. This is a really useful tool, so we are going to get this and use this to build it because it makes things simpler. Okay, so let me stop Firefox from downloading wherever it wants. Okay, ask me, bitch. Okay, so let me browse this. VS Code, user setup. I'm going to quickly install this. Okay, next. The fuck, we're going that way. Okay. No, I'm going to install it in C. in a much simpler path, because why not? Next. Okay. Why not? Sure, why not? Of course. Go. So while this is installing, let me show you the next tool that you are probably going to need, which is CMake, which is what is used to build the majority of the things on the internet, libraries and whatnot. So this is a 64-bit machine, so let me get this. Save, desktop, sure, why not, finish, launch, whatever. Let me see you get working, that's it. Okay, we're going to close this for now because we are going to come back to this later on when we are going to set it up with CMake and the compiler that we are going to install. I don't need this for now. So let me install CMake. Okay, run, next, accept, next. I'm going to add CMake to the system path, but only for this user, or maybe for all. Sure, why not? Fuck. I'm going to install this program files. Nah, just in C. Install. The reason I'm installing these here because I'm trying to avoid complicated paths with spaces and other weird characters like this, for example, which is, what the fuck is this? It's going to make things simpler in the future. Select this. When we, for example, let's say that I open a console and we want to go into that folder. We would otherwise had to go to C, type a lot of annoying paths. See, annoying to type by hand, all of that. So, which is why I'm using short and simpler paths, because it's going to make life easier sometime in the future. Let me delete this because I don't need it anymore. I already have CMake. Let me check. CMake G1 and whatnot. Okay. I'm going to leave this. Next thing, I have the IDE. I have the tool that is used to generate the scripts necessary to build the project, which is CMake. Next thing I'm going to need, which is a compiler. So the majority of the time on Windows, I'm going to use Ming W. I have no idea how that is pronounced correctly. So let me go. And there are multiple ways we could get this. First one is the usual Ming W64, which is the one that you are going to find on SourceForge here. This is probably something you don't want right now because it's out of date. Let me see. Personal builds, Ming. Okay, this died somewhere in 2018 on version 8, and this being a GNU C compiler port for Windows, if we look at that, it should be at version 10 by now. Actually, 11, which just got released. So this is kind of old, and we probably don't want this. So what we are going to use instead is msys2, something which is like a package manager. If you've used Linux before, you have something like something like that, install package and whatever package name. msys2, which is this, is something like that but for Windows. If you get into building packages or programs on Windows using third-party libraries, you are going to find that it's going to be annoying as fuck to do this. And what MSys2 does is have these packages pre-built for you. Okay, let me go. Come MSys2 package search. Let me show you the browse packages. Okay. As you can see, it already has a bunch of these common packages that you are going to need sometime in the future. So it's kind of easier to install them with using a command line instead of, I don't know, manually building them, which is why I recommend MSys2. Not to mention it makes updating them quite easy. It's just a matter of doing this command, pacman SYU. Yeah, sure. So we are going to use this to install the compiler and the libraries that the project needs. So let me download this. They have a very basic and small installer at first, which is going to download the rest. So make sure that when you install them somewhere, you have the necessary space. Overall, I recommend at least 5 or 10 gigabytes of space, because with building and everything, you are going to need these for temporary files and whatnot. So let me go to next. As you can see, this one already prefers a small and simple path, unlike the others. So we're not going to change anything here. So while this one is downloading and installing, we are going to wait, because why not? Or we could go and get the plugin source. But we can probably do that later. So this one is updating the database of packages or not. So this is done. I'm going to run it for now. So this basically gives you a console-like, similar to the one that comes from Windows, except it's going to look much more like a Linux environment. You are going to have access to tools from the Linux operating system, but you are on Windows. So anyway, the first thing you are going to need to do once you have installed it. So anyway, in case you want to open this terminal anytime, you go to Start, All Programs, MSys2, and you have this here, MSys2, MSys, whatever. So the first thing we want to do is update it using this command here. I'm too lazy to type, sorry. So it will update the package database and itself to the latest version. It will take a minute. And what it needs to do is close itself in order to do that. So if I could either type Y here to accept, or just press enter, because that will be by default. So now I need to open it again. And now I have access to the latest version of this. So now that it updated the packages, we are going to update this itself. What the warning, database for 5clang64 does not exist. Sure, why not? Go. Nice. Up to date, everything. Okay, let me leave it to update. Oh, I can zoom. Let me zoom this a bit more so you can see better. So basically the order of packages was that I had to run this once, which complained that a package somewhere was not properly updated. So I had to run the same command but without u, just sy. So then again su to install itself. So now if all of this is done, we can proceed to install the compiler. So let me see. Okay, so we are going to install mingw itself, which is this stuff. So let me go to packages, browse packages. X80s, no, what was it? Fuck. Toolchain. God damn it. Let me see where this is, what the name is. Fuck it, I'm going to type it by name, because why not? Let me clear this, so let me go pacman s 64 slash mingw 64. Okay, x86 underscore 64, because we are going to use the 64-bit version. Go. What the Okay, so what did I do wrong? Oh, it was a lowercase x. So yeah, I'm going to install all of them and enter. As you can already see, it's already requiring about a gigabyte of space just for the compiler, so I'm going to proceed with yes. So install it. So it will do just that. Ah, God, this is low. Let me see. Okay, so this is done. Next thing we are going to need are a few libraries. that some other libraries might need. So let me go to dlfcn. Sure, install it. Next one is the compression library. Sure, install it. Now we're going to need the MySQL database connection. This is optional. You maybe if you do not want to use MySQL connection, or you know you don't want it or don't need it, you do not have to install it. The project, the script, CMake script that builds the plugin, will automatically detect this, and if it's not available, it will not use it. So I'm going to install it because this is an example, but you do not have to if you don't if your project doesn't use MySQL. So yep, yep. So if you do not use this or this, you do not have to install that package, like I just said. Next one is for PostgreSQL. Fuck, I don't know how to pronounce this. So let me go. If you don't use this, you do not have to install this package just like that one, but I will install it because I have to. Okay, now we are going to need the package for doing web requests, which is, if you have been using Linux for some time now, you probably already know about this. So let's install this. By the way, it is annoying to type the whole thing every time, so I'm just using my up and down arrow keys to go to a previous command. So then I'm just removing the name of the package itself. And that's about it. That's all the things that we should need. Libraries and compilers and whatnot. So we are done with this. So now we can come back to the, let me delete this first because I don't need it. So I have the compiler, I have CMake, I have the editor. So let me install this. Open it, sorry. My bad. And we are going to install some extensions because, sure, why not? We are going to need them. Let me check something up. So first extensions we are going to need is CMake, and we are going to need the syntax highlighting, which is for the language itself. Then this will allow us to use CMake from right from the editor itself. Okay, next one will be related to C++, which is what was it? A basic C++ extension. So we have support for that. This one is optional but recommended. This one, it provides a, I don't know, it has better support for highlighting the C++ code. You probably don't need it since you're just interested in building the plugin, but I recommend it. Second one, a third one, or fourth, what? I forgot what. We are going to need something to help us with let me try to explain this again. When we are going to build this, there's going to be a window down here, a panel or something, which is going to output a bunch of text. So if there's an error, all of that text will look the same because it's just text. So we are going to need an extension to colorize the output of that panel to help us identify the information we need. So let's go do that. Okay, so this is the extension we need. While we're at it, we might want to install an extension to help us with the Squirrel language to provide syntax highlighting. What else do we need? Probably some extensions to help us with includes. So let me try this again. Okay, this one. And this one. What else? What else? What else? What else? And I think this is it. Oh, maybe this one. Forgot. Oh no, this is not for this. My bad. So at the end we should have these extensions installed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. These are the extensions we need. Let me recite this. So what we need to do now is get the, let me close this for now, get the source of the plugin. Actually, we forgot something. We forgot something. Why the fuck did I forget this? GitHub tools. My bad. We're going to download it for Windows. Download, download, download. Save on desktop, and we're going to install this. Again, this is optional, but you are probably going to need it, or you already have it. I'm going to leave this one by default. So that's about it. Default, default. The fuck? No, definitely no. You know what? Sure, why not? Let me get something else. Okay, this one just as well. Some of these you probably already have installed, but this is a fresh machine, so I'm going to have to do these anyway. Finish. I don't. So now I can probably select this because I have it installed. The fuck? Oh. Okay. Next, adjusting the name of the initial branch. Sure, by default. Git from okay. Open SSL. Sure, do this. Okay. 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 What? Okay. So we got what we need. I can delete this. Finish. I can delete this now. So now let's get the plugin source. On GitHub, this should be the address for it. So now I have two options here. I can go to code download as a zip file, or because I have just installed the GitHub tools, Git tools in general, I can, let's go on desktop, open GitHub bash here. So now I can go to code, copy this thing here, this line here, and go git clone. This will make things much simpler if there will be changes to the plugin here. All you need to do then is open a command line here. Let me close this. You open a command line here in the folder of the plugin, and you just go git pull, and it will get the changes. Otherwise you would have to download the zip file manually again, configure the project again, and whatnot. So I highly recommend doing this. Okay, so why is there no name here? The fuck? Oh, right. So now this is something you are going to need in general if you plan on doing programming. If each file has an extension on Windows, you probably know that. This one, for example, is a text file. This one doesn't have any. So, for example, this one here, you see there's an extension associated with each file. So if Windows knows how to open that file, for example, this file has a .ini extension, which is a configuration file. It knows that it can open this with Notepad. So what Windows will do by default is hide that extension. If you look at this file, for example, it doesn't have a program associated with it, so it will show you the extension, which is .NOT, which is the extension of Squirrel files by default. So what you are going to want to do by default in just about any Windows installation is go to Control Panel. Let me switch to small icons, actually large icons, and look for folder options. And in the View tab, I'm going to show hidden files because it will make sense. And disable, which is what, hide extension for known file types. This option here, we are going to want to make sure that this option here is unchecked. So if I click OK now Windows will show me the file extension, even if it knows what program to open it with. You are going to want this. This is something mandatory. So this is why these files were showing us no names, because they have no names. This is just an extension. You can't do this by default with Windows. Just go something like this. Windows will not allow you, but through something like a editor, which is this one, or maybe Notepad. Let me open up Notepad. Where is it? Notepad++. So if I type something here and I hit save, I can save a file with just the extension. As you can see, this is just the extension. Windows doesn't let you do this by default, but through other programs you can do that. So that's why you need that option disabled. So we have the code, we have the editor, we have the compiler, we have tools necessary to get the plugin source every time. Next thing we need is to open the editor and select that folder as a project. Let me go on desktop, this one, select folder. So now that we've opened this one up, let me open up a dummy file and see if the syntax highlighting works. And it works. Okay, so as you can already see, because we installed the CMake extension we have these options here, which is what allows us to configure the scripts necessary to build it. So if right now there is nothing here. The project wasn't configured yet, so even the extension itself wasn't configured yet. So we are going to do that. If I right click this here, it's going to ask me to specify a compiler. So I'm going to choose this option to allow the editor to search for itself. And it couldn't find one because we haven't told it where to find it. So if we go to C, MSys2, Ming W64, this is where the compiler was installed. In the bin folder is going to be the location where most of the executables associated with this installation are going to be found. So for example, let me search for GCC. I just realized that I have bound the asterisk key on my stop recording hotkey, whatever. So I'm going to have to explain this all over again. But anyway, if I go to the bin folder again and search for GCC, this is where it's going to be located. So any program that needs this executable, it needs to be able to find it here. So there's a thing called environment variable on Windows. Let me close this for now because I don't need it. Which is I don't know how to explain this. Basically, like a name with a string associated with it, with a piece of text that any program anywhere on the system can find it, and it's going to get information from there. Anyway, so we can go to Start, My Computer, or right here anyway, wherever you have it. Go to Properties, Advanced Settings, Environment Variables. This may be different on Windows 10. I don't know the exact order of things to do it. I think I forgot about it. So anyway, this is like a list of names with a bunch of text associated. For anyway, anytime a program needs to access to be able to find the information here, it will look for this name. So the one that we need is this one, the path. This one, let me copy here and open it in a text editor because it will simplify things. Anyway, this here contains a list of paths where other programs can look for other programs. I don't know how to say it however else. Anyway, and all of these paths are separated with a semicolon. For example, this is a separate path. This one here starts a new separate path, and so on. So in order for the editor, this one, to be able to find our compiler, we basically need to add this path after all these paths, but we need to add a semicolon before it. So this one and this one are two separate paths. Anyway, so here I'm going to click somewhere, and using the arrow key I'm going to go all the way to the end where I can type semicolon and paste that damn path. Anyway, so now that this is done, again, because as you can see I already have it here because I had to do it again, you just click OK, and if you click edit again, this path should be here anyway. Semicolon, path to the compiler, where the compiler can be found, and the remaining tools are associated with it. So anyway, okay, whatever. Let me close this. So now if I open Visual Studio Code and click here to select the compiler version, now there's a compiler here, a new option here, which is the compiler that we just installed. For example, let me go here to msys to min bin. Anyway, if I open a Jesus, if I open a command line here and type gcc-v lowercase v, you are going to see that this is the one that we have installed, GCC version 10.2. Anyway, so I can select that compiler and it will use that. Anyway, second one, again, here I can use these are basically the options here that this extension provides, CMake tools. This is what provides this, and this is what we can use to configure the project. Anyway, here I can select between debug and release, always release. This one here I can select the compiler that I need. This one here can help me. Anyway, Jesus. But by default this is not going to work. It's going to need something. If I go to File, Preferences, Settings, under Extensions 3, CMake Tools, which is that extension, there are going to be some options here. This one, for example, you are going to find it without this dot here. Okay, I usually add this dot because this is the folder where it will generate the scripts. Okay, let me go to the top. You see there's a folder here with a dot behind it, and there's a bunch of temporary files here that I don't need. I don't usually need anyway, because that's what the compiler is generating in order to get me the executable that I need. Anyway, so this being a temporary folder, I usually prefix this with a dot, so it doesn't show up on tools that how do I explain this? Anyway, in Linux, by default, any folder or file prefixed with a dot is hidden. Anyway, hidden in the sense that you wouldn't normally see it unless you want to see it anyway. So, for example, in this file here, git ignored, there's even a option here to exclude files and folders that begin with a dot. So I don't submit those files and folders to the repository. Anyway, I usually do this. I recommend doing it yourself too anyway. So next option is to specify a generator, which is we are telling CMake what scripts to generate in order to build. So let me search generator. The fuck? And this is the option that we are going to need to modify. By default, you are going to find this one empty, and this one here will complain that there isn't a generator to use. So this is what we are going to use to generate. We are going to generate make files for the main compiler. Okay, this is basically what this means. Okay, so once we have this, we can close the settings. Again, make sure we have release, the compiler that we want, and it should begin configuring, which is what it did earlier for me. Okay, what is this? Oh, okay, see, this is the exact thing. Anyway, so now we are going to select what to build. Okay, in this Jesus, running the contributed command CMake. The fuck is this one now, man? It just worked earlier. Anyway, let me go back to extensions, CMake. So this is okay. The generator thing is okay. What now? What are you complaining about? Oh, I was modifying the generator as I was editing the thing. So anyway, where is the... Nope, 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 nope. Where is the configure thing? Jesus. Okay, run. No. Let me... No usable generator file. Build. What the f... Let me close this for now. And let me open it again. Let's see if this fixes anything. Now it's going to ask you if you want to configure this. I'm going to select yes. It will do the same thing again. No. Oh, Jesus, man. It will generate these building scripts here in this temporary folder. It will generate the make file, which is what I just said earlier. So once this finishes configuring, it will say configuring done, generating done. It's going to make available an option here. By default for you is going to show all, which is basically build everything. We probably do not want this. So what you're going to have to do is click on that all option and it will open this, and here I'm going to search for module, which is, or just mod, and select the module because this is what we want to build. So this is basically what you should have here: the build mode, release, compiler, the compiler version that you have installed, and what you want to build, which is just module, the module itself. So now you can click the build thing here. Anyway, the build thing here, and it should begin building the plugin. It's going to take a while. It will generate a bunch of crap here that you are probably not interested in. The DLL will be placed here because that's where the source is located, but the script is also instructed to put a copy of it right here. So once this is done, there should be a DLL file here if no issues happen. Anyway, why is it so slow? Oh, I only gave this machine so only 4 cores, so it's going to take some time. Maybe if you look here, it's already using about 2.5 gigs of memory. So this is also a bit of information for what kind of memory you need to have in order to build this. So for example, if you do this on a laptop or something that's low power or with not a lot of RAM, you maybe want to look again because it's going to need memory, a lot of it. Anyway, this is going to take a while, so I need to pause this for now because I'm not going to sit here, look at this and make you do it as well. So I see you when this is done. Okay, so it just finished building the plugin and no issues happen. So you should it linked the DLL, which is in build folder module. This is the DLL that it just got built, but like I said, the script is already instructed to put a copy of it here in the plugins folder. The build process only takes this much time the first time it builds, because there's a bunch of third-party stuff that needs to be built as well. Subsequent builds, or after some changes to the plugin that you may get from the repository through something like a git pull. Let's say you do this, already up to date so far, but next time it might not. Next time if we hit build, it will just build the files that have changed, so it will take less time. But so right now we just finished building. This is the DLL. So for example, let me try and get a server up and running as an example. Let me go whatnot. This one, 7 plugin updates. Which one is the latest? This one. I'm going to get the Windows 64-bit version, save it, sure, why not, desktop. Let me minimize this as well. Open the zip file and just copy the thing here. So now this is our server. We are going to need a configuration file. Config. You don't need this 64 thing here, but for example, if you have both a 32-bit and a 64-bit server executable in the same folder, the 64-bit executable is going to pick this config, and the 32-bit executable is going to pick the 32-bit config file. If you just leave it like that, it will pick this one anyway. Just a bit of knowledge trivia. So anyway, now if I open a terminal here, and actually first I need to ask the server to load this plugin. So was it plugins and the name of the plugin without the extension? Let me add a new line after it. So let me try and boot the server up. So let me go server64.exe. Okay. Okay, allow. Okay, so the plugin didn't get loaded. Let me check why. Plugin. Again, what's the name of that extension? God damn it. Ah, man. Let me rename this file. Oh shit, my bad. It's server.cfg for configuration, and server64.cfg if you just want it to apply to the 64-bit executable. Now let me change this one back to plugins, as in plural, and try again. And as you can see, the plugin got loaded. There's a dummy script here which just creates a routine that prints hello world 3 times. Okay, and that's about it. We just compile the plugin and we loaded it and works just fine. So I don't know what else to say now for closing, but I can probably delete this. I know this took a lot of time to explain, but I didn't just explain to build how to build a plugin. I basically had to explain how to build C++ programs in general, which is why it took a lot of time, and I had to take some time to explain things, and maybe this helped you, maybe not, but I hope it did. Anyway, this is it. This is how you build it on Windows. Next time, if there's a change in the plugin, you just need to, you have git installed, you can just right click open batch, open git batch here in this folder, in the where the plugin source is located, and you just where this one here is located. So you just type git pull to get the changes now, and now you just open the editor again, and you just click build. That's it. You can always switch between compiler versions, what you need to build, but you only need to build a plugin, and that's about it. Simple. In case you have any issues, feel free to ask, but you shouldn't. This one, there may be some different things on Windows 10, as in how you configure things. For example, the environment variable, how to get there. I know there's a different menu there, but you probably need to right click on this PC. There's probably an option here there for uh, more, which will show you more options for that thing. And there you should have an option for properties. Look, you probably need to look for advanced system settings. In the advanced tab, there should be environment variables, and you know, when you edit this path on Windows 10, if I remember correctly, there's a it doesn't look like this. Each path is actually separated, and you just need to edit instead of manually editing this whole path thing. Oh shit, cancel. I deleted the file by mistake. Anyway, that's all you need to know for now. So bye for now. Anyway, good luck. If you have any issues, like I said, ask